From Software has created one of the most popular series in all of gaming in Souls, known for its extremely challenging but rewarding gameplay with an atmosphere few games can match. Now comes the latest, Dark Souls 3. Has it raised the bar for this series, or has it gone to the well one too many times? How good is Dark Souls 3? Let's find out. Gameplay is of utmost importance in any game, but that is doubly so with the Souls games, and From Software has absolutely nailed it on that front. Dark Souls 3 is much more fast-paced than Dark Souls 2. It has the more aggressive style of Bloodborne in that you move quicker, enemies are quicker and more abundant, the Estus Flask heals quicker, etc. But it still retains the methodical and calculating Dark Souls elements, blending to create some of the best gameplay the series has ever seen. A new addition is the weapon arts, which are special abilities tied to specific weapon types. These abilities deplete focus points. With the press of a button, a greatsword can do a launching upward strike that sends enemies flying. With an axe, your weapon art buff will buff your damage. Many of the weapon arts are the same across various weapons, but there are particular weapons that have their own unique weapon arts. It adds another layer and variety to the deep combat that's been in the Souls games for so long now. As is the norm with Souls, there are so many different playstyles. Do you want to focus on magic and cast sorcery or pyromancies? Or do you want to use weapons, which by the way there are a lot of them, each also caters to a specific playstyle. A greatsword deals a lot of damage, but it's slow. A katana, while dealing less damage, will be much faster. Dark Souls gives the player so many options, and that makes gameplay as a whole better, but also makes the game very replayable. Boss battles are some of the best in the series' history. They are still grandiose in scale and thrilling in execution. Without delving into too many spoilers, they are absolutely great and very memorable. The final boss in particular was something very special. It captured everything great about Dark Souls, and it's among some of the best final bosses in the history of gaming. This entry also features more two-phased boss fights where you'll quickly beat one part only to deal with a much more difficult second part. Dark Souls has always done a good job with its boss battles, and DS3 delivers big. The games have never told the player a riveting story with the use of various long-winded cutscenes, and if you're expecting anything different in Dark Souls 3, you'll be disappointed. But the game represents its deep lore in the traditional Souls way through the use of various text and other design choices. If you take the time and get invested into it, there is a high level of intricacy to Dark Souls 3's world and what's happening.
To be unkindled is to be a vessel for souls. Sovereignless souls will become thy strength. I will show thee how.
Lothric's kingdom provides for some visually stunning set pieces with an extreme amount of detail. The debris on the land, the view on top of a castle, the environment. There are times you will stop playing the game for a second just to take in the breathtaking world From Software has created. The frame rate on the console version for the most part is good. There are a few dips, but nothing that ever becomes game breaking or even that hindering to the experience. Level design isn't connected to the degree of previous games. You'll have to teleport to get to specific areas. This is something that will divide people. I found it worked well, and the game still remained consistent. The areas themselves are well made and varied. There are times when it's dark, when it's bright, there's snow. The levels are unique and it never felt redundant throughout. The game also has a bit of creativity in its levels. I don't want to give any specific spoilers, but you will find some very cool areas and some fan service to those of you that have played previous games. There's also an incredible amount of detail that's been put in the armor and weapons, from katanas to greatswords. It all looks exceptional. The enemies have also been created with attention, allowing them to really invoke horror in a day and age where that's very hard to do. Enemies turning into gigantic creatures with tentacles coming out of them, it adds so much to the atmosphere of the game. Speaking of the atmosphere, that's something Dark Souls has always nailed, and that's no different with Dark Souls 3. Paired with the amazing detail graphically is the superb soundtrack that complements the world. The soundtrack is epic for the boss fights, and when you're just in the world while there isn't any music blaring, the audio detail and things such as footsteps and swinging your weapons are so well done. And all of these various elements together create one of the most engrossing and absorbing gaming experiences you'll ever have. Dark Souls 3 is a game packed with content. An average player can complete the game in around 35 to 40 hours, while those more experienced can finish around 25. But there's so much to do outside of a single playthrough. With so many ways to play the game, just going back and playing as a different class is worth it. There are side quests that you'll probably miss in a single playthrough. For those that want to get everything out of Dark Souls 3 possible, there's a healthy amount of content and it'll keep you busy for a while. From Software has done it again, and outside of the minor technical shortcomings, they have delivered a complete Souls experience that is exceptional in nearly every area. If you're an ardent fan of the series, Dark Souls 3 will give you more of what you love. And for those that have never played Souls, now is the time to experience the engrossing world of Dark Souls. Our final score for Dark Souls 3 is a 9.5 out of 10. If you have a question or comment, leave it down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.